Zoomers and millennials are going to church at way higher rates than boomers. It's weird. It seems contrary to the order of nature. I have a theory as to why, and it's actually the same reason. It's because all the boomers got divorced. That's why. I know it's psychobabble. I know it seems kind of like anecdotal or something, but the plural of anecdote is data, and the data back this one up. I think the reason that the Zoomers and millennials are going to church is the same reason the boomers don't go to church, and it's because the boomers got divorced. And on the boomer side of things, they all got divorced. And I'm using divorce as just the clearest sign of political turmoil, political vice, because the family is the fundamental political unit. There are all other things that go along with that too. You know, the drugs and the kind of the selfishness in all sorts of political areas. But the divorce especially. Because I've noticed something. When people, especially when they get divorced, they feel ashamed, and that keeps them away from church. And I kind of get it. Now, we all sin. We all fall short of the glory of God. If you've had a divorce or something like that, you should go to church. You should go to church. You should do what you can to avail yourself of the sacraments and to repent and just do whatever you can. But people feel ashamed and they pull away. And the political disorder, the profound political disorder that entered into society because the boomers, more than any generation in history, got divorced and continue to get divorced, by the way. The boomers are having, what do they call it, gray divorce, silver divorce, something like that. They are still getting divorced at much higher rates than any other generation. Because of that, because of the political turmoil and disorder that came about because of that, the millennials and the Gen Z see that's bad and they want an alternative to it. I think it's the same thing. I know it sounds kind of psychobabbly, but it's because it's more than drug addiction or, I don't know, financial selfishness or, I don't know, it touches on the heart of politics. And Zoomers who are so messed up, there's so much disorder in their political society that they're being told by their teachers that it's good when peaceful debaters are murdered, and they're being told that boys can be girls, and they're being told to mutilate their bodies, and they are being educated in the most cartoonishly preposterous and villainous way, probably of any generation in history. So they look around and they say, this is completely nuts, man. What happened to society? And the boomers, unfortunately, they're kind of holding the bag because they're the hippie generation. It's the me generation, right? It's not too late though, boomers. I don't want to sound like I'm just beating up on. But you got to go to church. You got to go to church more than 16 times a year. Okay, on average, you got to do it. And you got to recognize that when we all sin and we all do bad things and we're all responsible for all sorts of bad stuff, the devil wants you to just totally dig into that. Say, well, no, I was right to do that. I was right to sin. I was right to do something wrong. It's me. The church is wrong. The gods of the copybook headings are wrong. Morality is wrong. God's wrong. It can't be me that's wrong. Just admit you're wrong. Just admit you did something wrong. And stop. Every generation does something wrong. They do a lot of things wrong. Just admit it. Because this is what the devil does. The devil leans into your ear on the one hand and says, hey, that bad thing, that's no big deal. And then you do the bad thing, and then 2 seconds later, the devil says, yeah, that's the worst thing ever, and you'll never be forgiven. Definitely don't seek forgiveness for it. Definitely don't try to repent. And, God turns bad things for good. So if that political disorder can convince younger generations to turn toward truth and morality and goodness and order, all the better. Right now, go to expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show. Hey, here's a good idea. Would you like to just print out all of your financial information, all of your messages, all of the websites you visit, your whole browsing history, hit print, and then nail those pages to the front door of every neighbor's house? That'd be pretty insane, right? Well, that is essentially what could happen every single day unless you're protecting yourself with ExpressVPN. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Your internet provider can see every single website that you've ever visited. In many countries, they are actually required to keep detailed logs of your online activity for years, just in case the government wants to take a look. If you're in the United States, it gets even worse because ISPs can sell your personal browsing data to whomever they please. Now, you can't stop your ISP from trying to collect this information, but you can make sure they never get it in the first place. That's where ExpressVPN comes in. It encrypts all your online activity before it even reaches your internet provider, turning their logs into complete gibberish. I've used ExpressVPN for 8 years or something now. It's phenomenal. Peace of mind. Even a Luddite like me can use it. Super simple. One tap on any device, your phone, your laptop, your tablet, whatever. You know your privacy is completely locked up on 8 devices. Find out how you can get up to 4 months for free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or going to expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show. Now, speaking of aging, Washington Post has a really, really interesting article. It's on the age-old fear of dying alone. So WAPO put this out. This was last week, or maybe even a little earlier. But I really want to get to it, because I think this is a problem that you're seeing grow right now. It's only going to get worse in coming years. Here's just the first few paragraphs. This summer at dinner with her best friend, Jackie Barden raised an uncomfortable topic, the possibility that she might die alone. I have no children, no husband, no siblings, Barden remembered saying. Who's going to hold my hand while I die? Barden, 75, never had children. She's lived on her own in Western Massachusetts since her husband died in 2003. You hit a point in your life when you're not climbing up anymore. You're climbing down, she said. You start thinking about what it's going to be like at the end. It's something that many older adults who live alone, a growing population, more than 16 million strong in 2023, wonder about. Many have family and friends they can turn to, but some have no spouse or children, have relatives who live far away. Others lost dear friends. More than 15 million people, 55 or older, don't have a spouse or biological children. Nearly 2 million have no family members at all. It's really awful. Your heart breaks for these people. In one sense, at least, though, there's a consolation in that the many, many people who are lonely, one of the worst feelings you can have, they are not alone in their loneliness. Loneliness is, oddly enough, a social phenomenon now. You're in the same boat with a lot of people, even though by nature of the problem you feel totally alone. They say, well, yikes, who's going to be with me when I die? I think this is another example of a silver lining to a storm cloud. You know, the turmoil that's been introduced into society, I think, is going to show people that there are better behaviors and worse behaviors, and actually it is good to have families intact and to have a lot of kids if you're blessed to have a lot of kids, and to do all of these things. And it would be not everyone's dream, right, is to die on a bed surrounded by your family. It doesn't really work out for anyone. Even if you are dying and you understand that you're on your way out, and often, you know, it's like in the middle of the night, no one's around you, and you know, but that's the dream that we all have. That's the dream at least traditional people have, religious people have. I guess in modern life we say, oh, the best way to die is, you know, to be bludgeoned on the back of the head with a 2x4, you know. You never see it coming. Just the lights go out or something. But that, traditionally, that was understood as the worst kind of death. People wanted to know when they were going to die. They would prefer a long-term illness to a sudden death, because then you could prepare for your death and you could prepare your soul and figure out where you're going. So I get it. I get why people are afraid no one's going to hold their hand when they die. However, we're all going to die alone. It's kind of a depressing show today, isn't it? Well, it doesn't have to be a depressing show. We are all going to die alone, in the sense that even if there are people in the room or nurses or family members or whatever, you know, as you're slipping away, you might not be totally conscious. You might not recognize people if you have a kind of dementia. You might not, and the place you're going, you can't take them with you. You are going to die alone, and you're going to face a particular judgment. You know, I'm on a Robert Frost kick recently. It's in anticipation of America 250. I'm reading one of the great American poets. But there was a line that really hit me from Home Burial. It was just a little bit of the poem. He says, "You couldn't care. The nearest friends can go with anyone to death. Comes so far short, they might as well not try to go at all. No, from the time when one is sick to death, one is alone, and he dies more alone. Friends make pretense of following to the grave, but before one is in it, their minds are turned and making the best of their way back to life and living people and things they understand." Totally true. If you've ever had a loved one who's dying or you've been around that, you know, death freaks people out, and they start making other plans even before the loved one dies. So it's gonna be you and God. And so in a way, I think that this realization, the fact that people don't have big families anymore, that a lot of people are alienated, that they're dying alone, the fact that there's a lot of divorce in our society, and so people don't even have their spouses, or maybe the spouse dies before them. In a way, I think it draws people to the ultimate consolation, which is even if you have 100 kids, it's going to be you and God, okay? At the end of it, it's going to be you and God. So you're not really alone. You could be in the middle of Siberia with no other human being around you. You're not alone. You're never alone. But you have to come to that truth. In a way, I think this realization might remedy the social situation. It will impel people to have more kids. But also, I think it will help remedy the religious situation. That was a great clip. Stop. Ring the bell. Subscribe. Do it. Do it. Do it. Please. Thank you. See you next time.